beautifuls and beloveds. So I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing. And one of the things that I've been doing is a little bit of struggle going through my Red Ribbons book. And I am referring back to a place in my book. It's so strange. All of you who write things and are authors, even screenwriters, you might find this out. When you've stepped away from the work, from, working on it, you can almost say, wait, did I write that? I mean, I know I did, but it just, when you step away from something and then you realize it's no longer your child anymore, you give it up to the world and you kind of just let it rest where it may. And I did that process. I think it's healthy to do, and it's also challenging to do for some people, and I think I did a pretty good job letting it go and letting it be its own creation. It's like letting your child grow up to be an adult and letting them have their lives in a sense and not be mommy or daddy anymore. You're just mom, dad, and have all those beautiful memories to reflect upon. So I'm looking through this, and there's a section about when I was a kid and auditioning for Oliver. And I got to understudy a lot of parts, and I got to dance, and I got to sing a little bit. It was, I had a basket of strawberries, but they weren't real strawberries. They were walnuts with little macaronis on the outside and painted, and I helped make my own props. It was very, very detailed, and nobody would have noticed, but I did. I noticed it, and I believe I switched off with somebody else. Like, we doubled up on a lot of parts because we were going to be performing it. We toured it in a lot of places, and we got to switch out the parts, so I wasn't always doing the same part. And it's more fair. That way you get to do a little bit more, and you get to shine a little bit more in different areas. It was kind of fun as a kid. And we did it with 2 different grade levels and 2 different teachers, and they combined their classes because it's pretty big play to cast Oliver, and it's one of my favorites too. And anyway, getting back to the strawberry thing, I did a lot of dancing in that whole thing, and I had to learn how to sing Ripe Strawberries Ripe. And if you look in the film, the Broadway play, that's like operatic. I don't have an operatic voice, but I can sing in the upper ranges and falsetto. So I had to learn how to do that because my voice is kind of like alto. My range goes in between. I think everybody's does, and I've been able to expand upon the range and have not a very stuffy or nasally head-sounding falsetto voice. It took a lot of practice and time. But anyway, I had to work on that. So I'm sure I drove my family crazy singing the same thing, because all you sing is ripe strawberries ripe, ripe strawberries ripe, and it scales. So I'm going to see if I can do it. Hold on. I'm so not warmed up. I think that's where it is. Ripe strawberries ripe, ripe strawberries ripe. And then you'd have the milkmaids come in, and they would sing, any milk today, Miss Chance. I think that's right. And then there was 2 blooms for a penny. I think. I don't know why they didn't give me that part, because that's where my natural singing voice is. That was so easy. Anyway, so no, they gave me the harder part that made me have to really reach. Well, maybe that was the point, to teach me how to expand my range. So anyway, so a little bit of that is in in my book, and I was just reflecting upon it. And then I did get a chance to do the Nancy character, and I'm trying to remember, because it's mentioned in my book, and I'm like, wait, when was that? I'm going to have to dig up old programs if I can find them. And it was very short-lived, but I did it. And Nancy, the character Nancy, does that As Long As He Needs Me song. And it's a very hard song to sing. It wasn't hard for me. I'm not bragging, but I got the character, probably because of she was kind of abused, wasn't she? Slapped around a little bit. And I probably just related to that character. But, anyway, I was just looking at some of that stuff in my book, and there's a part with the Nancy character. Hold on, the words. If you are lonely, then you will know when someone needs you, you love them so. And, right? And so we have the movie. Did that sound right?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. I don't know if I'm on key or off key. I'm so not warmed up. Sorry, guys. And I played it. And I remembered I could sing all of the songs, all the characters. That is how powerful memory can be, especially when you combine it with movement as a dancer or as a singer. You just know, and you just remember it. It's like, I'm there again, and I remembered it, and it was pretty amazing. So anyway, I just thought that would be fun to share how memory, they call it muscle memory, but really your muscles don't remember, but your body does remember how certain things feel, good and bad. And I can remember the dancing, not all the steps. I remember singing the songs more than I remembered the dance steps. So I don't know why that is. And there are some dances that I will always remember and not have to look at the video to refresh it or, try to figure out what I was trying to do. It's all pretty much, right there, but in some cases, that's why we love video. But as I was reviewing this book, let me put it to you this way. The theme I want to talk about is memory, and how things can be remembered, and they can relate, they can bring up past things, and you can actually remember, have you ever been in a bakery and you smelled that same smell that maybe you smelled when you were a kid? That happened to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm right back where I was when I was a little girl in the bakery with my grandmother during Christmas time on Christmas Eve, picking up our order, the baked cookies from the bakery, and I had smelled it again. And it wasn't anything that I focused on, and I almost forgot that entire memory, but it was like a cue, a signal, and it reminded my brain, and for a moment I was back there and I saw the picture, not before my eyes, but the visual part of memory that is recalled. Recalling can be an interesting experience. And the things in my book, Red Ribbons, and the dance concert, Red Ribbons, and the second act was called And Memories, Red Ribbons and Memories, but we actually flipped the acts around, and we had the memories part come first and Red Ribbons come second. I forgot why we did that. Oh, so we wouldn't scare the audience away. Not that the Red Ribbon scares the audience away, but it was a very heavy and heady piece, and we wanted to ease the audience into it and prepare them. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. But anyway, so Red Ribbons, the whole thing, you could look at this whole thing and rename and retitle the book as just Memories, but that's been overdone, and I don't want to call it that. I wanted to call it Red Ribbons, and we did. And it's just really making me remember and understand memory, and how you could see something one way and remember it another way, and somebody else can have a different experience, but then again, there is factual truth that depicts what really happened, because there is a factual truth of what really happened. You might perceive it differently, and it's legitimate, but, say if somebody threw a ball into that remembrance scene, and one person thought it was red, and one person thought it was pink, or blue, or it doesn't matter, there are two people who saw two different colors. Well, that can't be true. There has to be only one color and one color of that ball. So you gotta rely on other things like other eyewitnesses or a photograph or a video that can help. But anyway, I just found it very interesting to reflect upon that. And when I read this one passage in my book, it brought me right back. There it goes. It brought me right back to when I did Oliver, because it was written when I did Oliver. A lot of noise. And so I wanted to share that with you guys, because memory is actually important as an artist. Why is that? Because that is part of where your creativity can derive from. Your experiences, your place in the world, the things that you saw, felt, touched, heard, smelled, all of that is part of your memory. And to share that with the world, and how you share that as an artist, can be very grueling, and it can be very dangerous too. Why is it dangerous? Because some people just don't have the appreciation for what you do, and they want to, publicly not allow you to do it for whatever reasons. Everybody has their reasons. It's really not right, but they can do that. And another reason too is that some people can experience things. The same person watching the same play, the same dance, and they get different things from it. Well, that's totally valid too. But, we wanted to hit the nail on the head with the red ribbons thing. We didn't want to leave an interpretation open, because it could have been too dangerous. I don't want people to think, oh, this was about this. In that case, it would be the wrong answer. Not that it's not legitimate what you saw and felt, but, then again, I would say I did do my job as a choreographer or as a performer. And, not all art is left up for interpretation, I don't think. Now, the thing that was left up for interpretation was, it wasn't the subject matter, obviously, who the characters were representative of. And I've heard different people say, oh, you know what, that comes across to me as, my character as the mother reflecting back on her life, and then the older lady who's been with me, she's like my adoptive mom, and she portrays the future. And I said, oh, you could see that for sure. And in some cases I did allow for that, and in some cases I did program and choreograph for that. But for that story, there is a right and wrong answer. I mean, a woman sexually child abused, reliving the nightmare, conquering it, and sharing love with her red ribbons, and they're a magical thing that helps heal other people. It's pretty straightforward, but how you get to that understanding is open to interpretation. I don't know how it's going to make you feel. Some people were mad, not at me, but were angry that I had to go through something like that. Some people were joyous that I was able to triumph over something. Some people were hateful towards the person who did these things to me, and I'm like, well, yeah, I am too, or was. So that's legitimate. Feel the experience. We want you to feel something. If you don't feel anything, then we didn't do our job. And part of feeling is tied into memory. And some people who've been through the same thing that I've been through, they get very scared It's hard. I get it. But that means I did my job. I drew out something from within them. So hopefully it puts them on the right pathway. But not to get too much into the meaning of red ribbons and stuff, I really wanted to talk about memory and how memory can bring up different emotions within us. It can make us relive that moment, good or bad. It can make us experience things. And as we get older, that experience can change. The event itself is factual, and the events, how they happen, are pretty much set in stone, but how we recall them, how we re-experience them in a way, can change. It doesn't mean that how it really happened changed, but our recollection of it can, and it can alter a great deal of things. But for the most part, I just found it very exciting to revisit this book again, because I don't really read my stuff again once it's done like this, because it gets old. I get too used to it, and close. And it ruins it for me. But it's been quite a while since I had revisited this manuscript. Probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, 6 years. I don't know. It's been a while, and it doesn't seem like, oh my God, did I write that? But a little bit, because it's like, I don't remember that. Now I do. Okay, that's right. It's memory. It's how we experience things, and then I'm like enjoying it. It's like, oh, this is good. And then there's some parts where I cringe, and I'm like, I think I need to revisit this and rework it again. And there is one place that I would like to rework once I get a certain someone else that's very special to me to hopefully help me with that, so I can not alter what I experienced, but give their perception and their insight to it, to be fair, to show love, to have this person on the journey with me. They probably might not want to. Of course, this is just, an idea, but that would be really great. So they could, like I said, not to defend themselves, but to say, you know what, I can see why that came across that way. And I would then be able to say, this is how I perceived it. To do footnotes as well, and to also have their voice heard, and legitimately with permission, so we can go deeper in with the attempt to help other people. And yeah, I do think it's important that we know what happened. I do. Because whether anybody likes it or not, when you work with other people, you become part of their story for a little part of their time and your time. And it's important to get the facts straight. That was another reason why I had wanted to do it. I want to get the facts straight. Maybe I don't see things right. Maybe I was mistaken. Maybe not. Maybe they have some great insight to their character that would help me explain and draw up and conclude. You see what I mean? I had to write this book a lot without my mother's input as well, and I will never be able to get that voice to appear in this. However, yes, I can get that voice to appear, and you might wonder how. We have found a treasure trove of video films and just old cards and notes and a lot of things that were very surprising to me. Some I had already had and forgot about, and like a little box wrapped up, and you put it in another box, and you put that box in another box, and one day you say, wait, we got a clean house, spring cleaning, and you're like, wait, I never opened that up, what is that? And you don't remember what it is, and then you start opening it, and it's like, oh, now I do. Little treasures and nuggets like that come along the way, and Hold on a second. Okay. It was glaring and bouncing and really distracting me. And so I wanted to go back and now fill in some of the blanks and make corrections, because in some cases I was mistaken. Sometimes I said, this happened to me in this year, and it wasn't that year, it was a different year. And then I see why I would draw that conclusion, because something was dated incorrectly on a photo, or, you know, things like that. So to be nitpicky, I'm getting really nitpicky in the details of my life lately. This will probably have a revised edition soon enough. There's an expansion to it as well. And I just, you know, it's my history, it's my documentation, my story. There are some things that I want to reflect back upon and say, I feel different about that now. I was completely wrong about this person here, or I was completely right. We made amends. We fixed this. We didn't fix this. This is still an owie. You know, there's certain things, and it's a lot. Like, there was one thing I was reading about my mom and her aspirations, and I just thought, oh, well, she didn't get the right support. And now, based on everything that I've been going through, I don't necessarily have that opinion anymore. And in talking with my dad and finally, you know, sharing with him my Red Ribbons story and my mother's and all of this, and I was like, there's so much more to be known and to be had and to share with the world, so you understand what I went through to help you guys, and also to protect my life, my voice, my story. You know, people have gleaned from this, you know about that already, and my other materials, it's like, we'll take from this book of hers, and this book of hers, and this video, and oh, there's that email, and then it's like, well, you can't do that. I don't care if you made something different, it all originated from me, and I didn't give you permission to do that. Yeah, I don't see where anybody said cherry picking was a legal thing to do. It was still all from my stuff. Just because it came from different works doesn't matter. And then in some cases it was like a blatant verbatim thing in one piece of work, from one piece of work. We've had a myriad of different things happen. But, you know, it was never discussed with me. It was never okay with me, ever. Ever. So anyway, I found it and still find it very interesting. Oh, please guys, don't color time my hair to not be the color it really is, because we found a lot of photo labs actually doing that. To talk about memories, it's like, wait a minute. I did the punk rock thing with my hair, the very little that my mom would let me do with my hair, during a certain time. Why do I have black hair? I've never had black hair in my life. Ever. Okay? My dad was a natural blonde and still is. He's not even going gray. He's like really beautiful hair color. But his mother and my grandmother, they had that same thing too. Beautiful hair. And, you know, so you come up with me as strawberry. That's okay. That's fine. But these people were color timing my hair, and they were saying, okay, now that we know which films came out during that time, which films were being prepped for during that time, you know, pre-production. Oh yeah. Very, very wrong to do, very, very disturbing. So this goes back. Memories again. Pictures are our memories. You see where I'm going with this theme here? And to know that, wait a minute, I have hair clippings, dated hair clippings. That was like my mom's thing. Who knew? It's amazing, like I said, when people in the family pass on and die, things get left to the next in line. And I'm like, you know, unfortunately, I've had a lot of people in my family just kind of go. And, you know, some understood and some like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what's legitimate and what's not. But back to the point. You know, I was given memories, and I want to keep looking and keep searching and keep discovering these memories, because I need to know exactly what happened to me. We know I was sexually molested as a child. Okay, that we figured out, verified, fine, it's known. But what else went along with all of that? Why? Did somebody, and I have to ask these questions, did somebody sign away my rights for my script, and then for some reason that made me a resource, a target? It was good. We have it. And I'm like, a little cringy, because, you know, I was a teenager writing it, and as an adult, you're like, ouch, that's a mistake. You know, you see your mistakes, you want to change it. But, you know, as an adult reading a child's script, I'm like, well, it's pretty dang good. And I'm like, very interesting. So when they see talent like that, and as you know, Aaron Spelling was my boss, and I do know how things are done. It's not good, it's not right, but, you know, this happens upon rare occasion. So I was that good. And when people don't get back to you after you give them your work, you have to suspect something is up. And apparently my stepfather suspected something was up, and the person who actually received the script didn't have a good reputation. And I'm like, you ask these questions, why the heck did you give it to them then? And then I had to wonder why my mom was always like, after that, you should be a secretary. No, you should do this. It was like nothing in the arts, nothing that was creative. She didn't want me to do hair and nails, which I'm also good at too. And she didn't want me to do anything like that. She wanted me to just be a secretary. So I write in my books that my mom, this was at that time thinking I knew the truth, right? The whole truth, and I didn't. Not that I was lying, it's just that I only knew so much. But she was trying to protect me from, you know, just being treated like a piece of dirt every time I would try to be an artist. And yes, being a beautician and doing nails is considered that. And pretty much everything. I thought she was just being mean to me, you know, wanting me to be this because, you know, she couldn't have it and neither would I. She came across that way too. So it was very confusing. I'm writing this book, and this is my recollection, and it's like, there's jealousy there. Oh, I still think there was. You know, she wouldn't even let me call my doll a name, and then she names her plant that. And I'm like, obvious, okay? But here's the thing. It wasn't always that. There's other things. I do think she was trying to protect me from Hollywood, but, you know, that didn't work, because I ended up working for Aaron Spelling, and I kept going. And he told me, we're going to put this up on our website, what he told me, not all of it, but just part of it, because some of it is precious to me, and I don't want everybody to know. But the certain things about having to protect myself and my work and everything, my persona, everything about me, because I was that interesting. I was that wow. And I'm like, okay. And as a kid, I was still a kid. I was still a teenager, I believe. So, you know, what do you know? You think you know it all, and you don't. You listen, and then you say, I don't know what that means. How do you interpret it? Again, memories, right? Pretty interesting stuff. But then as we find little trinkets and little journals and hair clippings and all of this stuff, it's like, oh my gosh, okay. It's illuminating, it's encouraging to let us know, me, my family, my team over here, know that what we suspected is pretty right on. And then we have people that are helping us. We are getting things that, let me differentiate something here. As you know, we've been getting hint drop things. If we talk about something in a private conversation, that subject of focus in the conversation would end up near our property, in our vehicle. Yeah, a little creepy, isn't it? You know, That's not happened before. That was really